never liked driving at night. There's something about the way shadows stretch across the road, how the silence outside presses in through the windows, that always made me uneasy. But that night I had no choice. My cousin's wedding had gone on longer than expected, and I was too stubborn to crash at a motel. The drive home was supposed to be 5 hours, most of it through highways and long stretches of rural back roads that barely show up on a map. I figured I'd make it by dawn, blast the radio, roll the window down a bit. Nothing I hadn't done before. It was a little past 2 a.m. when I turned off the interstate and onto County Road 47, a road I vaguely remembered from a trip years ago. According to my GPS, it was the fastest route, cutting straight through the wooded hills. The moment I turned, I noticed something. No streetlights, just my headlights, slicing through thick, quiet dark. About 10 minutes in, I passed the only structure I'd see for the next hour. An abandoned gas station with a cracked sign above it that read, "Miller's Fuel and Feed." Half the letters were missing, the paint peeled and faded. The windows were boarded up, and the single overhead lamp buzzed dimly, casting strange shadows on the concrete. Something about it made me slow down, not because I needed gas, but because I felt like I was already somewhere I didn't belong. As the road narrowed and trees crowded in on both sides, my high beams picked up little more than gnarled branches. It was like driving through a tunnel carved by nature. I gripped the wheel tighter. Every so often, I'd glance at my GPS, but the signal kept blinking in and out. Then I saw them, headlights approaching from ahead. Finally, another car. Relief hit me fast and hard, but just as quickly as they appeared, the lights vanished. 1 second, they were there. The next, gone. The road ahead was empty. No curve, no turnoff. Just silence. I slowed down, checked my mirrors, scanned the shoulders of the road. Nothing. No tire marks. No sound of an engine. I tried to rationalize it. Maybe they turned off. Maybe I just imagined it. But that uneasy feeling in my gut wouldn't let go. About 15 minutes later, something else started to go wrong. My radio cut out. The smooth jazz station I was using to keep myself sane suddenly turned to static. I reached over, adjusted the dial, searched for another station. That's when I heard it. A voice, male, raspy, drowned in static, but unmistakably there. "Don't stop. Not here." I froze. My fingers hovered over the dial. That wasn't a song lyric. It wasn't an ad. It was a warning. I stared at the dashboard, barely breathing. I didn't know whether to turn the radio off or listen more closely, but before I could decide, the static surged and then cut to complete silence. No noise, no voice, just the hum of my engine and the sound of my heartbeat. The road curved left, then right. That's when I saw her. A woman on the side of the road, standing still, her long hair hanging down past her face, wearing what looked like a pale white dress. No shoes, no bags, just her. I slowed down without realizing it. Maybe she was in trouble, but something about her posture. It was too rigid, too posed. Her head didn't move. Her arms hung limply at her sides like a doll. As I passed, I looked in the rearview mirror. She was gone. I hit the gas. My hands were clammy. Every instinct screamed at me that something was wrong with this place. But I didn't stop. Couldn't. That's when my headlights began flickering. Once. Twice. And then, they went out completely. I slammed the brakes and came to a hard stop. The darkness outside was complete. It swallowed everything. Even the stars above seemed to vanish. I turned the key. Nothing. Then I heard it. Footsteps. Slow. Crunching on gravel. Just outside my window. I couldn't see a thing. I didn't dare move. My breath fogged up the windshield. The footsteps circled the car. Deliberate. Measured. Then, a knock. Just one. Right beside my head. I twisted the key in blind panic. The car sputtered, then roared to life. The headlights blinked back on. No one was there. I hit the gas and flew down the road. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold the wheel. That's when I saw it. The signpost. Bent, rusty, hanging crooked. Next to it, a twisted tree, bare and blackened, its trunk split like a lightning scar. I'd passed it 10 minutes ago. Now it was back. Same angle, same tree. I kept driving. Another 5 minutes. Same sign, same tree. I was stuck. Somehow I was looping. I couldn't make sense of it. I took a random right turn at a fork, then another left. Anything to break the cycle. Didn't matter. Same sign, same tree. Then I caught it. In the rearview mirror, someone was sitting in my back seat. I didn't see their face, just a silhouette. Long, matted hair, shoulders hunched, still. I swerved, nearly ran off the road, slammed the brakes. The back seat was empty, but the seat was wet. Like someone had been sitting there, dripping. I could smell something. Damp earth, mold, rot. Then it hit me. My grandfather used to tell me stories when I was a kid. Ghost roads, cursed miles, places that trap you if you're foolish enough to travel them after midnight. One line stuck with me. If you ever hear footsteps, don't stop. If you ever see the girl, don't speak. If you ever feel cold in your bones, it's already too late. I was deep in it. The road offered one more path. A bridge. Old, covered. Wood rotting at the joints. But it was different. Something told me this was a test. The last one. I crossed it slowly. The temperature dropped like a stone. My breath fogged the glass again, and as it did, handprints appeared on the inside of the windshield. One after another. I didn't stop. I pressed harder on the gas. Then the bridge gave way to light. Trees pulled back. The sky began to pale with early dawn. The road smoothed beneath my tires. I made it, or so I thought. At 6:15 a.m., I pulled into a small roadside diner. Classic silver trailer, neon lights flickering. The bell above the door jingled as I stepped inside. The waitress behind the counter smiled and asked where I was coming from. I told her, County Road 47. Her smile faded. She came closer, lowered her voice. That road's been closed for years, she said. Bridge collapsed. Nobody's driven through there since the flood. I didn't respond. Couldn't. My throat had gone dry. Back in my car, I popped the trunk to grab my bag. There was something inside that hadn't been there before. A white satin ribbon, torn, faintly stained. I remembered the woman on the side of the road. I left it there, slammed the trunk shut. And even now, weeks later, when I drive alone at night, I still glance in the rearview mirror too often. I still hear footsteps sometimes right behind me when there's nowhere to walk. And sometimes, just sometimes, that same crooked signpost appears in places it doesn't belong. I was driving home late one chilly evening from a business dinner in Chicago. It must have been just past midnight, and the roads were nearly empty, silent except for the low hum of my engine and the occasional whoosh of a passing breeze against the windshield. I turned onto Archer Avenue, heading southwest toward Justice, Illinois. My route took me right past Resurrection Cemetery. I'd heard the old stories, Resurrection Mary, the vanishing hitchhiker, but I always thought they were just that. Stories, campfire tales told to spook kids, urban legends that never happened to anyone real. But something about that night, it was different. The air felt colder than usual for early spring. Not freezing, but sharp, like it was trying to bite through my jacket. The streetlights along Archer flickered, casting long, shivering shadows across the pavement. I turned up the heater and leaned forward slightly, trying to stay alert. That's when I saw her. A young woman appeared on the right side of the road, just ahead of my headlights. She was standing perfectly still, not waving, not walking, just there. Her dress was white, ankle length, like something out of a different era. Her blonde hair glimmered faintly in the light, and she looked pale, almost glowing, under the sodium street lamps. At first I thought she was in trouble. A car accident, maybe, or drunk and lost. So I slowed down, rolled down the passenger window slightly, and called out. "Need a ride?" She didn't answer. She didn't even move. But as I came to a full stop, she opened the passenger door and climbed in without a word. That should have been my first red flag. She closed the door gently and folded her hands in her lap. No eye contact. No thank you. Just silence. I tried to shake off the unease. "Where are you headed?" I asked, keeping my voice light. Still nothing. She just pointed ahead, toward the cemetery. We drove on in silence. The only sound was the low crackle of the radio, playing some late-night jazz. I stole a glance at her. Her dress looked vintage. Lace around the sleeves, maybe 1930s style. She didn't blink, didn't breathe heavy, just sat perfectly still, staring forward. As we passed the Willowbrook Ballroom, I felt something shift in the air. You know that sense, like someone's watching you even when you're alone. My scalp tingled, and my grip on the steering wheel tightened. Then she whispered, "It's just ahead." Her voice was barely audible, like wind in the trees, but I heard it. I nodded, trying not to show the chill racing down my spine. We neared the wrought iron gates of Resurrection Cemetery, tall and black and rusted. I slowed the car and turned to ask her something. Anything. But the seat next to me was empty. Completely. Undeniably. Empty. The door hadn't opened. The seatbelt wasn't buckled. The seat was bone dry. But she was gone. I slammed the brakes so hard my tires screeched against the pavement. My heart pounded in my ears. I opened the passenger door in disbelief. Nothing. No sign of her. Just the cold air rushing in. I sat there for what felt like minutes, staring into the cemetery gates. The wind had picked up, rustling the trees behind the fence. I swore I heard footsteps crunching the gravel behind the stone wall. I didn't sleep that night. The next day, I did something I never thought I'd do. I looked up the story. Resurrection Mary. And to my shock, dozens of reports matched what I experienced. Going back to the 1930s, drivers reported picking up a woman in white, often silent, always beautiful, and always disappearing near the gates. One story said she had danced at Willowbrook the night she died, struck by a car while walking home. Another mentioned handprints burned into the cemetery gate, seen in 1976, and written off as damage from a collision, but too high and too precise to be random. A few stories even said she spoke, just once, and only to say the words, "It's just ahead." Exactly what she said to me. I couldn't stop thinking about it. Every free moment I had, I was digging deeper. Archives, message boards, even old microfilm from the local library. The sightings weren't just from the past. They were recent. Drivers still saw her. Some even claimed to have danced with her at the ballroom before she vanished. I visited the cemetery during the day. The air felt still, too still. I walked along the fence line, hoping I wouldn't find anything. But near the far edge, I saw the blackened marks on the iron bars. The handprints, exactly where they weren't supposed to be. I asked a groundskeeper about it. He just muttered, "Best not to ask too many questions, son," and walked off. Then things started happening at home. Lights flickering, my dog barking at corners, cold spots in my hallway, cold enough to see my breath in May. Once I came home to find the passenger door of my car wide open. I shut it, locked it, slept with the keys under my pillow. But it didn't stop there. I had a dream, vivid, more real than anything I'd ever felt. I was dancing in a ballroom, lights dim, music soft. She was in my arms, smiling now. Same dress, same pale face. But when I looked down, her feet weren't touching the ground. I woke up in a cold sweat. And outside my window, parked under the streetlight, was my car. Interior light on, passenger door ajar. I checked the security cam. No one touched the car all night. The dreams continued. Sometimes I heard her voice. Sometimes I saw her in the rearview mirror. Once, I felt a hand brush my shoulder while I was driving. But then came the twist. A call from my aunt in Wisconsin. She was cleaning out my late grandmother's things, found an old photo album. Inside was a picture, grainy, black and white, from a dance hall in the 1930s. In it was a young woman, blonde, white dress, smiling beside a man I didn't recognize. But on the back, in my grandmother's handwriting, was a name, Mary Bregovy, the name tied to the resurrection, Mary legend. And beneath that, another name, Joseph Langston, my great-uncle, my grandfather's brother. I'd never heard of him, but there he was, arm in arm with the girl who now haunted my dreams. I don't know what it means. I don't know if there's a connection, or if something in my blood called her back. All I know is that she's not done. 2 weeks ago, I was driving past Archer Avenue again. Same route, same time. And in the distance, I saw her, standing there, waiting. But this time, she smiled, like she recognized me. And I swear to you, I didn't stop. But every night since, my car alarm goes off at exactly 12:03 a.m. Passenger door, always unlocked. So if you're ever driving Archer Avenue past midnight and you see her, don't stop. But if you do, don't be surprised if she remembers you. Because some rides, you never really walk away from. And some passengers never leave.